How is behavior and performance reflective of the frontline leader? I'm Greg Schenkel, President of Unique Training and Development and Frontline Leadership Systems. And today's Leader Feeder, we've got to talk about how the frontline leader is really responsible for creating behavior and performance in their work group. Many people think that behavior is caused by culture, and there's a little bit of truth to that, but actually culture is really a composition of behaviors. Think about culture as that shared sense of what it takes to fit in a company. And of course, some companies end up with a culture of complacency. I can remember one organization that we worked with that really wanted to see the culture move from more service-based or length of service to more of an achievement, innovation type culture. Well, those are two different polar opposites almost in terms of cultural mapping. And what they realized, though, as probably you know, is that really the culture isn't just one culture for a company or one culture even for a manufacturing or a logistics site. It's really a composition of a whole bunch of subcultures. So then the question is, what is it that causes those subcultures to be either higher performing or lower performing? And really it ties back into the frontline leader. The frontline leader influences the behaviors of the work group, and over time, those behavioral expectations cause a culture or at least a subculture to form. So if you're trying to move the needle on your culture and influence behavior and performance, I've got a few tips to help you make that happen. Tip number one is to make your culture about achievement and winning. Too many cultures get into the mode of length of service, as I said in the example I gave, when really what you want people to be thinking about is winning. People do want to win. They don't want to necessarily have to fight against each other in winning the battle, but they do want to win together and collaborate. So achievement and winning should be one of your focuses. Collaboration is the second element of an effective culture. And this means that you have to watch out for this thing called siloing that can happen, where different departments compete against each other instead of collaborating with one another for performance. So watch how you use your measurement system, your reporting, and your feedback to ensure that you're not actually making departments pit against each other and fight against each other when they really should be collaborating to drive overall performance. Now, the third element of a highly effective culture that will drive the behavior and performance, and it's reflective of the frontline leader, is accountability. Now, accountability we often think of as people taking ownership over what they're responsible for, and there is truth to that. Accountability really requires the application of consequences. But as was pointed out to me in a class that I was teaching this week, it's weird for people to think of consequences as being both positive and negative or corrective. And I think we all think of consequences as getting into trouble, but really consequences is simply what happens after an action. So you want your people to get a steady flow of feedback, and you could argue that they should get maybe 5 to 10 times as much positive reinforcement when they're doing well, and then get, of course, some corrective reinforcement when they need to, or corrective action when they need to actually bring results back into line. So by focusing on these three elements in terms of creating this culture that creates high performance in your organization, we're talking about achievement, have people focus on winning, set challenging goals and support them. Focus on collaboration, which is departments working together instead of against each other to drive that performance. And then finally, the spirit of accountability, which of course gets modeled from the top. You're either showing the accountability and you're applying the positive and corrective consequences, or in many cases, it's just a vacuum of information and nobody really knows whether they're doing well or not. Now, once you've figured out how to create this high-performance culture and help improve the behavior and performance of your work group, you're going to want to work on some of your other leadership attributes. And of course, that's where our Frontline Leadership Program comes in. That program is available in English, Spanish, and even French. Can be delivered in person on site, or it can be delivered through our state-of-the-art virtual training studio. Everything begins with a conversation, and you can do that on our website at uniquedevelopment.com. In the end, we want to have high-value conversations with you so that we can deliver the performance that you expect and need to succeed.